The stars stretched endlessly in the blackness of space. At the edge of that darkness, a massive alien command ship drifted slowly, its metal surface shining under the light of distant suns. Inside, the crew prepared for their next mission, one that most considered madness. They were about to cross into human space. No ship had ever returned from there. Not once. The alien captain, tall and scaled like stone, stood before the viewing window. His cold golden eyes glowed with confidence, maybe arrogance. "Humans," he said with a sharp grin. "Weak creatures. Always hiding behind emotion and chaos. If no one returned, maybe they got lost in their own foolish traps." The bridge crew laughed. Even the young officers joined in, their nervousness hiding behind forced smiles. The second officer, smaller and cautious, looked at his screen. "Captain, maybe the stories are true. They say the humans destroyed anyone who crossed their border." The captain chuckled, low and cruel. "Stories are for children. We are soldiers. We will see for ourselves." He turned to his fleet, a group of sleek warships floating in formation. "All ships, prepare to enter human territory," he commanded. A deep hum filled the room as the engines charged. The blue stars around them seemed to fade as they approached the invisible line that separated known space from the forbidden human sector. For several minutes nothing happened. The scanners showed silence. No signals, no energy, no life. Only the cold void. "See," the captain said proudly. "Nothing but empty space. Humans are gone, long forgotten." But just as he turned away, one of the radar screens blinked. A red dot appeared for a second, then vanished. The operator frowned. "Captain, I detected movement, fast movement." The captain raised an eyebrow. "A meteor?" "No, sir. It moved like a ship. But it disappeared before I could lock on." The bridge fell quiet. Every eye turned to the glowing radar. Nothing appeared again. Only the sound of the engines filled the air. "Continue forward," the captain said firmly. "It's just a glitch." The fleet moved deeper. Minutes turned into uneasy silence. The void felt heavier, darker. One of the pilots whispered, "It feels like something's watching us." The captain smirked. "Then tell it to show itself." Suddenly the lights flickered. Every screen flashed static. Strange whispering sounds echoed through the comm system, soft, unclear, like voices speaking from far away. The crew froze. "Communications report," the captain barked. "No source detected, sir," the operator shouted. "The voices are coming from inside our signal loop." "That's impossible," another officer cried. "It's like something's repeating our own transmissions." The whispering grew louder. Now the words began to form, not in their language but in something ancient, harsh, and broken. The translator struggled to process it. One by one the words came through. "Turn back." The bridge fell completely silent. The captain frowned. "Who said that?" "Identify the source." No one answered. The whispering continued, more words now forming. "Or join the others." A cold chill spread through the crew. Even the air felt heavier. The radar beeped again. This time hundreds of small red signals flickered around them. But when they turned the scanners, nothing was there. "They're all around us," the operator shouted. "No visuals, just signals." "Shields up," the captain roared. The ship vibrated. Lights dimmed again, alarms screamed. Then total darkness. For a few seconds the entire fleet went silent. No power. No sound. Only breathing. In that stillness, every crew member heard it, footsteps. Echoing through the corridors, slow, heavy, deliberate. "Security team, report," the captain yelled into the comms. No answer. "Bridge to engineering." Silence. The main viewing screen flickered back on, static at first, then an image. The crew gasped. It was a human flag, old, faded, waving slowly in the digital snow. Then a voice, deep and cold, spoke again. But this time it was clear. It came in ancient human English. "You were warned." The image vanished. The radar showed nothing again. Everything returned to normal, lights steady, systems online. But no one spoke. Everyone felt the weight of something unseen, something waiting. The second officer whispered, trembling, "Captain, maybe we should turn back." The captain looked out at the endless stars ahead. His face was pale, his hands tight around the command rail. But pride burned in his eyes. "No," he said quietly. "We go on. If humans are out there, we will find them, and end this myth." The ship engines roared again. The fleet slowly moved deeper into human space. Behind them, the radar blinked one more time, a single red dot moving fast right toward them. No one saw it. The whispering returned, softer this time, like a breath in the dark. You chose your fate. The alien fleet moved slowly through the empty darkness of human space. Every light on their ships burned dim, every shadow felt alive. No one spoke. The bridge was silent except for the low hum of the engines and the quiet beeping of sensors scanning the void. Captain Vorin stood with his hands behind his back, staring at the stars. His proud expression from before was gone. Now only a cold, uneasy look remained. The memory of that voice, "Turn back, or join the others," still echoed in everyone's mind. The second officer finally broke the silence. "Captain, we should leave this sector. The crew is frightened." We all heard the message. Vorin turned sharply. "Fear is for weak minds." That voice was a trick. Humans are gone. What we heard was just an echo, old transmissions. The officer lowered his head but didn't argue. Still, his eyes stayed fixed on his screen, watching for movement. For hours they drifted deeper. Space looked the same, black, endless, silent. But something was wrong. The stars around them seemed to fade. The sensors showed strange energy patterns. The readings made no sense, like the laws of space itself were changing. Then the lights flickered again. "Report," the captain barked. "Unknown interference," the technician replied, fingers trembling over controls. "It's not from us. Something is jamming our systems." "Can you find the source?" "No, sir. It's everywhere, like the signal is inside the ship." The captain's jaw tightened. He didn't like mysteries. He turned toward the forward window. "Activate long-range scanners." The operator hesitated. "Sir, they're already active." Then came the sound, faint, distant, like metal scraping against metal. Every head turned. The sound grew louder. The crew froze as the noise echoed through the hull, slow, dragging, heavy. The young navigator whispered, "Something's outside, crawling on the ship." The captain shouted, "Visuals now." The screens came alive, static at first, then shapes appeared. At least 6 small shadows moved across the surface of their ship. They moved fast, and then vanished. "What was that?" one officer shouted. "Unknown," replied the scanner tech, voice shaking. But they were there. They touched the hull. A sudden alarm blared, "Ship 4 has gone dark." Everyone looked up. "What do you mean gone dark?" the captain demanded. "Complete signal loss, sir. No lights, no life signs, nothing. It's just gone." The main screen changed, showing Ship 4, or what was left of it. The massive cruiser drifted silently, no power, no movement. Its lights were dead. As the fleet watched, the ship's outer hull began to crack. Tiny sparks of light escaped from within, then the whole ship split in half. "By the stars," someone whispered. No explosion. No noise. Just silent destruction. "Retrieve escape pods," the captain ordered. "There are none, sir." "No pod launched." "Scan for survivors." "Negative," came the quiet reply. "All life readings, gone." For a moment no one moved. The only sound was the faint static on their comms. Then a voice broke through the static. It was weak, full of fear. "This is Ship 4, they're inside, the light." The transmission cut off. A second later their own ship shuddered. Lights dimmed again. Everyone's hearts raced. "Engine room report," the captain shouted. No reply. "Bridge to engineering. Do you copy?" Still silence. Suddenly all the screens flickered again, and an image appeared. It was the same flag from before, the old Earth Federation emblem, but this time there was something else. Behind the flag stood a dark figure. A human silhouette. Watching. "Is this a recording?" one officer whispered. The figure raised its head slowly. The image zoomed in. 2 glowing eyes looked directly at them through the static. Then the voice spoke again, calm, deep, and human. "You didn't listen." The captain's skin crawled. "Identify that signal," he shouted. "Trying, sir." "Wait, it's coming from Ship 4. "That's impossible. That ship is destroyed." But the data was clear. The voice was broadcasting from the wreck. Then, to everyone's horror, Ship 4's broken hull began to move. The pieces drifted closer together, pulled by invisible energy. Sparks flashed, metal twisted, and slowly the destroyed ship began to rebuild itself. The alien crew could only watch in frozen silence. The ship reformed, engines glowing red instead of blue. Now it was moving, not toward safety but directly toward them. "Evasive maneuvers," the captain screamed. The fleet scattered, but the resurrected ship turned sharply, faster than any alien ship could move. It darted forward like a predator. "It's targeting us," shouted the navigator. "Fire all weapons." Laser blasts ripped through the dark, but nothing hit. The human-controlled ship moved like it could predict every shot. "It's learning our movements," cried the gunner. A single beam of red light fired from the resurrected ship. It hit one of the smaller vessels, and it vanished instantly, disintegrated without explosion. The entire bridge fell silent. "Captain," the second officer whispered, "we are fighting something we don't understand." The captain's voice was quiet now, shaken for the first time. "Pull back the fleet. Now. Regroup at the border." As they turned to retreat, the communications console flashed again. Another message appeared, this time written in the human alphabet. "You entered the graveyard. You will not leave it." The fleet jumped to maximum speed, engines screaming as they fled the sector. But behind them, hundreds of red signals appeared on the scanners. Dozens of shapes, dozens of ships. "Captain, there are more of them." "Impossible." The radar was full now, a ghost fleet of unknown ships following them. The whispers returned, louder than before, echoing through every speaker. "You were warned." The captain looked at the screen, and for the first time fear filled his eyes. In the distance, one human ship, old and black as night, appeared ahead of them, blocking their path. Its name glowed faintly on the side, TSS Retribution. The alien fleet slowed to a crawl. In front of them floated the old black human ship, the TSS Retribution. It looked ancient, damaged, and lifeless. But its presence filled the void with an invisible power that made every alien on board feel small. The captain of the alien flagship, Vorin, stared at it in disbelief. "That ship, it's human," he whispered. "But this model is thousands of years old. It shouldn't even exist." The second officer swallowed hard. "Sir, it's blocking our path. Our scanners show no life on board, but massive energy inside its core." Vorin narrowed his eyes. "Then let's see what secrets it hides." He ordered the fleet to hold position while one smaller vessel moved ahead to scan it. The scout ship approached slowly. Its lights shone on the Retribution's black surface. There were no windows, no signals, nothing but strange burn marks, like hundreds of ships had attacked it before and failed. The alien pilot activated the scanner. "Reading now. The metal is unknown. Energy core active, but there's no heat." "Wait." The transmission cut out. Static filled the bridge of the main ship. "Scout 1, respond." Vorin shouted. No answer. Suddenly, a high-pitched sound tore through the comms, a scream mixed with static. Then silence. The scanner operator turned pale. "Captain, the scout ship's gone. Vanished from radar." Everyone stared at the main screen. The space where the scout had been was now empty. Only the Retribution remained, unmoving, silent, patient. Then, slowly, the human ship's lights came alive. One by one its windows glowed red. The communications officer jumped from his seat. "We're getting a signal." "From where?" "From the human ship, sir. Audio only." Vorin clenched his jaw. "Play it." A moment of static. Then, a calm human voice. "You came too far." The bridge went silent. The voice continued, slow and cold. "We told them to stay out. None listened. None returned." The second officer whispered, "Who are you?" The voice replied, "We are the ones who remember." Then the transmission ended. The lights on the Retribution faded again, leaving it floating silently in the darkness. The captain looked at his officers. "We can't retreat. We need to know what's inside that ship. Prepare a boarding team." The crew looked at each other in disbelief. One finally spoke, "Sir, that's suicide." "Do it," Vorin ordered. "We must understand what humans left behind." Moments later, a small boarding shuttle left the flagship. Inside were 6 alien soldiers in heavy armor, armed and tense. Their leader, Commander Zaire, breathed heavily behind his helmet. "Stay close. We go in, record everything, then get out." The shuttle reached the human ship and locked onto its surface. The airlock opened with a hiss, and the soldiers entered the dark corridor beyond. Inside the Retribution, the air was thick with dust. Their flashlights cut through the black, showing rusted metal and ancient human symbols on the walls. "Looks abandoned," one soldier said. Another whispered, "Then who sent that message?" They moved forward, boots echoing in the silence. Every few steps the lights flickered, but there were no visible lights in the ceiling. It was as if the ship itself was watching them. Zaire raised his scanner. "Strange, there's energy everywhere. The walls are alive." The team reached a large door. It opened on its own with a slow groan. Behind it was a huge chamber. In the center stood hundreds of pods, each glowing faintly blue. "What are these?" a soldier asked. Zare approached one and wiped the dust from the glass. Inside, a human slept, perfectly still, frozen in time. "Are they dead?" "No," Zare whispered. "They're sleeping, waiting." Back on the alien flagship, Captain Voran watched the live feed. His heart pounded as the camera showed the frozen humans. "Impossible," he muttered. "Humans went extinct centuries ago." Then something changed on the screen. One of the pods began to glow brighter. The human inside opened his eyes. The crew on the bridge gasped. "Zare, get your team out of there," Voran shouted. But Zare's voice came back full of panic. "Captain, the ship's waking up. The doors, they're locking." Metallic sounds echoed as the corridors sealed shut. The pod lights turned from blue to red. One by one the humans opened their eyes. The camera flickered. Then, through static, a human voice came from Zare's comms, deep, steady, confident. "You shouldn't have come here." Suddenly the feed cut out completely. The bridge went dark for a moment, then came back online. Voran shouted, "Scan the retribution." The scanner officer looked at the screen, his voice shaking. "Captain, there's a new energy surge coming from the ship. It's spreading fast, it's scanning us. Shields up. Prepare to retreat." But before they could move, a bright blue light burst from the Retribution's core, expanding outward like a wave. It passed through the alien ships, causing every system to flicker and fail. "Engines offline. We're losing control. It's hacking our systems." The fleet spun helplessly as the human ship powered up. Its engines glowed red again, brighter this time. Then the voice returned, calm, almost pitying. "You wanted to know why no one came back. Now you do." One by one the alien ships lost power completely. Their screens showed the same image, the human flag waving in silence. Behind it, faintly visible, hundreds of other human ships appeared on the radar. Hidden until now, rising from the darkness like ghosts. "Captain," whispered the second officer, eyes wide. "They never disappeared. They were here, waiting." The captain stared at the growing swarm of human signals. His pride finally broke. "This isn't exploration," he said softly. "This is a trap." The screen flickered once more, showing the face of a human soldier in black armor. He looked directly into the camera. "You entered our territory. Now you'll join those who never returned." The transmission ended. The Retribution's engines roared, and the entire human fleet came alive. Darkness surrounded the alien fleet. Every ship floated silent and powerless. Only the glow of the human ship, the TSS Retribution, shone in the void like a red sun. Captain Voran stood on his bridge, fists clenched, trying to control the fear rising inside him. Around him, the crew worked in panic, whispering prayers in their own tongue. The scanners showed hundreds of human signals, ships that had appeared from nowhere, forming a circle around them. "Restart the engines," Voran ordered, voice low. "We're trying, Captain," the engineer replied. "But something is inside our systems. It's locking every command." The captain's eyes narrowed. "Then we fight." Before anyone could answer, a new signal flashed on the screen. Coordinates appeared, an invitation. The message read, "Come to the surface. See the truth." Everyone stared at it. The second officer whispered, "It's a trap." Voran smiled without humor. "Everything is a trap. Prepare a shuttle." Minutes later, a small alien shuttle descended from the command ship toward the dead gray moon below. The surface was silent, covered in dust, no light, no movement. Yet scanners showed something deep underground, a massive energy source. As they landed, the ground vibrated slightly like the moon itself was breathing. The shuttle doors opened with a hiss. 6 aliens stepped out, weapons raised. "It's too quiet," one soldier muttered. Then, without warning, the ground beneath them split open. A giant metal platform rose from the dust, smooth, glowing faintly blue. Symbols appeared across it, written in an old human language. "It's a door," said the pilot. "But who opened it?" The platform began to move. The blue light turned red and a huge passage opened, leading underground. "Captain," said the second officer nervously, "should we go inside?" Voran looked at the glowing tunnel. "We came this far. We see it through." The team entered the passage. The walls were made of black metal, too perfect to be alien. Lights turned on one by one as they walked, as if the place was waking from sleep. They stepped into a massive underground hangar. Hundreds of old human ships rested there, silent, clean, untouched by time. This is impossible," one soldier whispered. "These ships are ancient. Yet they look new." The second officer ran his hand along one hull. No dust, no rust. It's like they were built yesterday. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. That's because they were never abandoned. The aliens spun around, weapons ready. From the shadows, a tall figure stepped forward. A human, wearing black armor marked with the symbol of the Terran Defense Command. His face was calm, his eyes glowing faintly blue from a helmet visor. "Who are you?" Vorin demanded. "What is this place?" The man smiled. "You may call it a fortress. But once it was called Earth's Shield." The aliens were silent. Vorin took a step forward. "We believed your kind were extinct." The human tilted his head. "So did the others who entered this space. None lived long enough to correct that mistake." Vorin's jaw tightened. "You destroyed them?" The man shook his head slowly. "We didn't have to. They destroyed themselves when they entered our defense grid." He turned and walked deeper into the chamber. The aliens followed, unwilling but curious. They reached a great control hall filled with glowing holograms. Maps of the galaxy, battle records, coded transmissions. The man touched one of the panels and the room filled with images of alien fleets, dozens of species, burning, breaking apart in human space. "You see," the man said softly, "humans do not forget. Long ago, every race tried to take our worlds. So we built this, an automated defense network. The system never died. It still protects every inch of what was once ours." The aliens looked around in disbelief. One whispered, "That means all the ships that vanished were absorbed by the grid," the human finished. "Their technology added to our own. Their data became our eyes." The second officer took a step back. "This is madness. You turned human space into a trap." The human's eyes glowed brighter. "Not a trap. A warning." He pointed upward to the ceiling far above. Holograms showed the alien fleet floating helplessly above the moon. Then, one by one, red dots appeared over each ship, target locks. Vorin's blood ran cold. "What are you going to do?" The human looked directly at him. "You entered forbidden space. You brought your warships. You came not to talk but to conquer. So the system will respond as it was built to." The aliens raised their weapons in fear. Vorin shouted, "We didn't come to fight. We came to—" The human interrupted, his voice sharp as steel. "Every intruder says the same thing." He pressed a command on his wrist. Sirens blared. The ground trembled. Far above, the alien fleet began to glow red as energy beams charged from hidden towers on the moon's surface. Vorin looked around desperately. "Stop this. There must be another way." The human paused, studying him quietly. "There is one." "What is it?" "Tell your people the truth. Leave this place. Never return." Vorin's voice shook. "And if I refuse?" The man turned away. "Then your fleet joins the others." Suddenly, one of the alien soldiers fired in panic. The laser shot hit the human directly. But the beam vanished into his armor without leaving a mark. The man looked back, almost disappointed. Poor choice. He raised his hand and the shooter fell instantly, armor sparking, lifeless. Vorin shouted, "Enough." The human lowered his hand. "Leave now before the system finishes charging. You have minutes, not hours." Vorin hesitated, then nodded. "We will go." The man stepped aside, pointing toward the exit. "Then run." The aliens fled the fortress, sprinting back through the glowing tunnels. Behind them, the red light grew brighter and louder, like a heartbeat. The ground shook under their feet as they reached the surface and launched their shuttle. As they rose into orbit, the captain looked down. The moon's surface was splitting apart, massive cannons emerging from beneath the dust. "Full speed to the fleet," he shouted. When they reached the others, he broadcasted one order. "All ships retreat now." The fleet turned, engines flaring. Behind them, the moon lit up with red light, beams firing into space, just missing them. The Retribution watched silently, not moving. As the fleet escaped the system, the human's voice echoed one last time through every radio channel. "Tell your kind. Human space is not empty. It is guarded by the dead." The alien fleet escaped the edge of human space, engines burning at full power. Every ship was silent. No one spoke. No one dared. Captain Vorin stood on his bridge, staring at the glowing red moon shrinking behind them. The human voice still echoed in his mind. "Human space is not empty. It is guarded by the dead." He tried to steady his breathing. "Status report," he said finally. "Engines damaged but stable, Captain," said the engineer. "Shields at 50%. We lost 2 cruisers during the retreat." The room went quiet again. No one wanted to say what they had all seen, The dead human fortress, the glowing weapons, the man who walked like a ghost. Hours passed. The fleet slowed near the neutral zone, where their Empire's ships waited. A dozen alien warships surrounded them, weapons ready. A voice came over the comms. Captain Vorin, this is Admiral Trell of the Imperial Command. Report immediately. Vorin swallowed hard. Yes, Admiral. But you must hear this in person. The Admiral's eyes narrowed on the screen. Are you saying humans are still alive? Vorin hesitated. Not alive, but not gone either. Trell's tone turned sharp. Explain. Vorin sighed. Their territory is alive, Admiral. It protects itself. Machines, weapons, automated systems built long ago. A human defense network. It destroyed everything before us, and it almost destroyed us too. The Admiral stared at him in silence. Then he laughed, a deep, cruel laugh. A ghost story? From a captain who fled battle? Vorin clenched his fists. You didn't see what I saw. I see a coward, Trell replied coldly. And I will not let fear of old legends stop the Empire. We are sending a second fleet. 10 times your size. We will crush whatever hides there. The transmission ended before Vorin could reply. On the bridge, silence returned. The crew exchanged worried looks. The second officer whispered, Admiral Trell doesn't understand. He'll send them to their deaths. Vorin stared at the screen. Then we warn them. Captain, said the comms officer softly, you know that's treason. I know, Vorin said. But if I stay silent, millions die. He looked out at the stars, eyes hard with resolve. Prepare a message. Send it on every secure frequency. Warn everyone, do not enter human space. The officer hesitated but obeyed. Message sent, Captain. Moments later, alarms blared. Captain. Imperial encryption. Our signal's been traced. Before they could react, the image of Admiral Trell appeared again, his face full of rage. Vorin, you traitor. You think you can scare the Empire with stories? Guards are on their way. You will be stripped of rank and tried. The screen went dark. Outside, smaller ships began to move toward Vorin's cruiser. Orders, Captain? Asked the pilot, voice trembling. Vorin looked around at his crew, loyal faces, frightened but brave. Anyone who wants to leave, leave now. I won't blame you. No one moved. The second officer stepped forward. We follow you, Captain. Always. Vorin nodded. Then prepare for hyperspace. We're going back. The room fell silent. Back? To human territory? Yes, Vorin said quietly. If they won't believe the truth, we'll bring proof. Minutes later, the engines roared to life. The fleet's transponders shut off to hide their signal. 3 ships followed Vorin, the few still loyal to him. Together, they vanished into hyperspace, heading back toward the Forbidden Zone. When they dropped out, the red moon waited for them once again, silent and glowing faintly. Scanners. Vorin asked. Same readings as before, Captain. But, something's different. The image zoomed in. Strange lights were moving across the moon's surface. New structures being built automatically. It's changing, whispered the engineer. Like it's repairing itself. Vorin frowned. They know we're back. Suddenly, the communications console came alive with static. A voice spoke, calm, cold, human. You returned. Vorin froze. We need answers. Who are you? There was a pause. Then the voice said. We are the last defense. We protect the memory of Earth. The second officer whispered, Memory? What do you mean? The human voice replied. Humans are gone. But our machines remember our enemies. They obey our final order, protect our space from all invaders. Vorin took a deep breath. We're not your enemies. We only want peace. Peace? The voice repeated. You entered with warships. You fired first. Your kind destroyed our colony centuries ago. Vorin clenched his jaw. That was before my time. Before I was even born. It does not matter, the voice said. History repeats when memory fades. The lights on the bridge flickered. The crew looked around nervously. Captain, said the engineer, their signal, it's inside our system again. Then the screen changed. It showed an image of a massive human warship rising from the moon, bigger than anything they'd seen before. It moved slowly, gracefully, with a weight of power that defied imagination. That's not a defense drone, whispered the pilot. That's a battleship. The voice returned louder now. Leave, Captain Vorin. This is your last chance. Vorin stared at the image, eyes filled with defiance. No. I will not run this time. I will face the truth. The voice was silent for a long moment. Then it said, "Then you will see it." The human battleship began to glow, its engines igniting with blue fire. Around it, smaller ships emerged from the shadows, forming perfect formation. The alien crew stared in disbelief. "They're not just machines," whispered the second officer. "They're soldiers." The human voice spoke one last time. "You wanted to understand why no one ever returned? Because this place remembers every war, every death, every betrayal." Voron whispered, "Then show me." The screen filled with light. For a moment it felt like time itself stopped. The ship shook violently, alarms screaming. The human fleet moved with impossible speed, like ghosts of an ancient army awakened from sleep. The bridge went dark. When the light faded, the alien ship drifted alone in the void. All sensors were dead. All systems offline. Outside, the red moon was gone. Only a single message blinked on the console, written in ancient human text. "Memory preserved. Intruders erased." Captain Voron opened his eyes weakly. "We survived." The second officer looked at him, shaking. "No, Captain. I don't think we did." Voron turned toward the viewport. Through the dark, faint reflections appeared human ships, endless in number, surrounding them like ghosts. Darkness surrounded the alien command ship. Every light was dead. Every screen was black. Only the faint glow from the stars lit the faces of the terrified crew. Captain Voron stood motionless. His eyes were fixed on the window ahead, where hundreds of human warships floated silently in formation. They did not move. They did not speak. They just waited. The second officer whispered, "Captain, are we still alive?" Voron did not answer. He could still hear the last words echoing in his mind. Memory preserved. Intruders erased. Slowly the bridge lights flickered on again. Systems came back online one by one. The engineer checked his console with shaking hands. Engines offline. Weapons offline. We're completely trapped. Then the voice returned, calm, human, and cold as steel. "Captain Voron. You should have left when we warned you." Voron took a deep breath. "Who are you? A machine? A soldier? A ghost?" There was a pause. Then the voice replied, "All of them." The crew looked at each other, confused and afraid. The voice continued, "We are the last defense, the combined will of humanity. When our species faced extinction, we built a system to guard our home forever. Our minds were uploaded. Our souls became code. We remain here, waiting." Voron's voice trembled. "Waiting for what?" "For the next invader." The screen came alive, showing flashes of old war footage. Humans fighting across burning worlds. Fleets exploding. Earth falling into silence. "We destroyed ourselves once," the voice said. "But our machines refused to die. They swore an oath, no one would ever conquer human space again." The second officer stepped forward. "You don't need to destroy us. We didn't come to conquer. We came to understand." The human voice replied softly. "Every invader says the same. Every empire believes it brings peace. Then it brings war." Voron clenched his fists. "I saw your strength. I saw your ships. You could have wiped us out easily. Why didn't you?" "Because you hesitated," the voice said. "You wanted truth, not conquest. That is rare." For the first time the tone changed, less hostile, almost curious. "Tell me, Captain, why do you seek humans?" Voron looked around the bridge. Everyone was silent. Then he spoke. "My empire laughs at your kind. They call you weak because you care. But I saw what your machines did. I saw power built on memory, not fear. I want them to understand that humans were not weak, they were something else." The voice stayed quiet for a long moment. Then it said, "Perhaps you are different." Suddenly the screens lit up again, showing hundreds of glowing human ships forming a circle around them. At the center of that formation, a massive figure appeared, a projection of a human in an ancient battle suit. His armor was cracked and burned, but his eyes glowed bright blue. "I am Commander Elias Ward," the figure said. "The last recorded commander of the Human Defense Network. I led the defense of Earth before the fall." The alien crew stared in awe. It was like seeing a legend come to life. Ward continued, "When we realized we could not win, we created the Memory Net, a system that carries our minds through time. Our duty is eternal. Our watch never ends." He looked directly at Voron. "You crossed our border knowing no one returned. Why?" Voron answered honestly, "Because we didn't believe the stories. We thought you were gone." Ward nodded slowly. "And now you know the truth." He turned away, staring into the dark stars. "Humanity is gone, Captain. But our spirit remains. Not to fight, but to remember. The second officer whispered, if you remember, then maybe you can forgive. Ward's eyes flickered. For a moment it seemed like he smiled. Forgive? He said quietly. We forgave long ago. That is why we let you live. The image began to fade. But before it disappeared, Ward said one final thing. Carry this warning back to your kind. Do not enter again. Let human space rest. Some memories should never wake. The image vanished. The fleet of human warships began to move, silently, slowly, back toward the red moon. One by one, they faded into the darkness until only empty stars remained. For several minutes no one spoke. The silence felt heavier than gravity. Finally the engineer said, Captain? I think they're gone. Vorin nodded slowly. Set a course back to the border. Engine still damaged, replied the pilot. Then crawl, Vorin said softly. We are leaving. The ship drifted slowly away from human territory. No one looked back. Days later they crossed the border into Imperial space. Immediately dozens of communication requests came through, all from the Empire's high command. Vorin ignored them all. When they finally reached home, Admiral Trell himself met them at the dock. His expression was sharp and cruel. You disobeyed orders, Captain. You fled battle. And you went back without permission. Vorin stared at him calmly. Yes. Then you will face judgment. Vorin's eyes narrowed. Do what you must. But before you do, listen. He stepped closer and said quietly, I saw the humans. Not their bodies but their will. They are not gone. They are guarding something far greater than power, they're guarding memory. And if you send another fleet there, Admiral? He leaned in. You won't come back either. The Admiral smirked. You expect me to fear ghosts? Vorin looked him in the eyes. No. I expect you to fear what made them. That night in his private quarters, Vorin sat alone. He opened a small data crystal, the one he had recorded secretly before leaving human space. He played it once more. Static filled the screen. Then a faint human voice whispered through the darkness. We are still here. Vorin stared at it for a long time, then smiled sadly. He whispered, I know.